We'll just figure it out on the road.
We're going live in 3, 2, 1. Lewis, Kyle, I told you don't do that. We're live. I don't see any bits coming in though, Lewis. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't go through the notes.
That's what I mean.
Oh.
That's why I said I guess we'll just do it live, like real live.
And we're live. We're doing it live, Lewis. You want the tweet?
God help us. Yes.
We're going to need his help because we haven't even gone through these notes. It's a good thing you put your names on the stories that you wanted, though. So we're doing it here. You want the Lewis? You want the Lewis, Mr. Tweet? Here it comes.
Oh my God. So you are backwards now.
Oh, what happened? Oh, sorry, something on Twitter started playing. Yeah, I got the medium COVID, Lewis. I definitely got. I'm hoping it doesn't evolve into long COVID. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm hoping that's not what mine's moving into.
You seem like you're moving into permanent.
I do not feel smarter than I used to.
It is weird though. Like ever since having it, I do feel a little bit off. I'm not totally back to normal yet. I'm probably running at like 92%, and I feel that missing 8% for sure. Like I'm just my mental acuity's not totally there, and also my energy level is not totally back to normal. Oh my goodness, but look at this. We got Zach Hicks in the chat. Captain Dr. Zach Hicks is here. I hope he's got his steel-toed boots on because we had some people talking some smack last episode. I'm not sure you were here for that, Zach, but we need you to insert that boot right into their keisters. We got Jeff Drew in here. Let's give it a couple more minutes, and then we'll dive in, Lewis.
Dive in.
You're looking very intense about something. What's going on over there?
I'm just trying to. I forgot the giveaway in. Like a moron.
Oh, man. Well, it's a good thing that in order to do the giveaway, all you have to do is go to cultamac.com and then scroll down. I think I can handle that.
Scroll down.
I think I can handle that much. All right. Well, clearly my headline was not clickbaity enough because we don't have a ton of people here, but I think we should just go ahead and get started because we actually got a lot of great stories.
Send it already? Let me
the
just
tweet?
retweet it. Yeah, I'll just.
The tweet has been tweeted, Lewis.
The tweet has been deleted.
All right. Oh, look at that. We got Zach in the chat with his boots on, so I think we're ready to go. Guys, we have a lot of stuff to talk about this week. You don't see the tweet?
No. You sure you sent it?
I'm
there it is.
100% positive.
Everything. I don't know if my internet's screwed up. I may not get through this show. Everything seems to be not working right today.
Oh, great. Well, hopefully you don't get disconnected.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm adjusting the time. I'm gonna have to do it live. All right, Lewis. Rather than tell everyone what we're going to talk about while we're waiting for people to join, why don't we just go ahead and get started, and then we will dive into the show and we'll do it all then, so that we don't have to do it twice. How's that sound?
That sounds amazing.
Okay, let's cue up Mrs. You Know Who. Oh, Mrs. D. Where's that delicious little L. Katie? He's probably sleeping in after his adventure with me last night. Ah! Gross. Jeez, I don't know what's going on between the two of them, Lewis, but I don't want to hear any more about it. All right, well, Mrs. D, we have an exciting show here for everyone. So if you don't mind, if you can stop obsessing over your delicious little LK for just a mere moment, I'll get the music going, we'll get the show going, and we can start talking about all this Apple hardware that is incoming in 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Aaron Elijah. Join me today. He set a new record in the Cult of Mac writer's cage last week, keeping the team awake and typing for 7 straight days. By the end, several writers had lost their sanity and were hallucinating, but our site productivity has never been higher. He's the managing editor of Cult of Mac. Lewis Wallace is here.
Yeah, it's about how it felt, actually.
There's going to be a book about you someday, Lewis, when you're in prison. They're going to write a book about you and all your ways and how you kept the Cult of Mac writers motivated, quote unquote.
I think it's probably going to be more of a pamphlet.
How you tracked them down when they got away. How you spent years practicing your steer roping techniques so that you could catch them on horseback when they're trying to get away. That was really the most important, like one of the most impressive parts of your story is you just spent 2 or 3 years just circling the rope around and like trying to rope things. You know, you started off with that stationary object. What was it? Like a barrel with horns on it. And then you increased it to moving animals, and then finally Cult of Mac riders. Like when they're running away, they think they got away, and then whoop, the rope goes around them. You drag them home on the horse, Lewis. No one's better than you. You're the best.
This is high praise.
That's why Leander keeps you on staff there. All right, well, my friends, we have a lot to talk about this week. Let me pull up my notes. We got to talk about Apple's M2 because this is quite an upgrade. It's even faster than I had expected, and some of the early benchmarks have come out, and there are some surprising facts and figures about the M2 that I think you're gonna like. So we'll talk about that. Also, of course, the pre-orders for the M2 MacBook Pro are happening. Probably by the time you hear this, they've probably already happened. But they're happening on Friday the 17th. We've got some more leaks about the iPhone 14 that I think you're really going to like. We have an absolutely wonderful giveaway for all of you. This is going to be one for the ages. This is going to be one that you're really going to want to enter because I think you're going to want to win this item. And we've got some more information on a 15-inch MacBook Air, which I think for most people is going to be the perfect computer. The M2 15-inch MacBook Air might be the most perfect computer Apple's ever made for most people. We'll talk a little bit about that. There is a 14-inch iPad Pro incoming. I mean, it's just one thing after another. And we forgot to dial this in, Lewis. Should we talk about the LG display, that new wacky one? We'll talk about it if we have time. How about that?
Yeah. We got a hard stop today, right?
We got a hard stop because we're running out of time on our recorder. That's a true story. Because Lewis and I, before the show, we were trying to actually go live, but we end up just chit-chatting for like 45 minutes or so. And then we always say we're not going to do it, but it happens every single week. And then we run out of time on our recorder. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. Before we do that, though, oh shoot, I forgot to. God,
dear. See, the wheels are coming off right off.
Oh my goodness, it worked. I don't know how that worked, but my browser was automatically input into. There we go. Wow. Okay, it worked. I can't believe it. I'm gonna go ahead and give a very hearty thank you to myself for supporting this episode, my friends. CultCloth. I'm telling you, CultCloth.co. The orders just keep coming in. I don't even talk about CultCloth that often, and the orders just keep coming in. We keep running out, and I actually want to apologize to anyone who's had a late order, because we've had a lot of late orders lately, because we'll just keep running out, and we'll have to restock stuff, and we're having inventory problems just like everybody else. But if you haven't got your order of CultCloth in, and you want to, we just got restocked, so things are shipping really fast now. And if you're unfamiliar with what CultCloth is, it's just the best way to keep your gadgets, your lenses, your sunglasses, your glasses sparkling clean. CultCloth is made from a special fiber that goes through this process that breaks down the fiber so that it has a lot of surface area, so it drastically enhances its cleaning ability. And I always say you can feel it working. If you rub it on your fingertips, you actually feel the CultCloth Duo grabbing onto your fingertips, and that's what it does with all of the grime and grease and particles all over your glasses, your sunglasses, your MacBook Pro, your iPhone, and it reaches down into the crevasses, Lewis. The places
Sounds
that
creepy.
The places that get the dirtiest. Those are all the places that Leander likes to spend his time in.
Jeez.
And it picks all that crust and grime and stuff out, and you're left with nothing but sparkling glass and metal. It really is amazing. Like even now when I use the CultCloth, I just can't believe how well they work. And if you use code CultCast at checkout, you'll score yourself a free carry cloth with any order. Plus, your order helps support me, helps support the show. So thank you all for your support. I know many of you have ordered multiple times because I've recognized names. I'm like, I've seen that name before. So if you want to get yourself some CultCloth, CultCloth.co, CultCloth.co. Let's dive into this first story, Lewis. What is it? I don't even have my notes in front of me.
Dear heavens, it's going to be a good one.
Oh, here we go.
Buckle up.
First MacBook Pro with the speedy M2, Lewis. The computer that I would recommend most people don't buy. I would not get one of these MacBook Pros. I know it goes on pre-order on Friday. I wouldn't buy one. I think it's a trap.
A trap. Yeah, pre-order start Friday. That's probably today when you're listening to this.
By the time you hear it, yeah.
June 17th. pre-orders for the updated 13-inch MacBook Pro. This is the first one with Apple's M2 processor, and this is the one that it's kind of the extra at the WWDC a couple weeks ago.
That's right.
No word on when the really big, the star M2 laptop is going to go on sale. That's the totally redesigned MacBook Air. Apple so far has only said that will launch in July. So
that's so weird, isn't it? So if you order the M2 MacBook Pro, it goes on sale on the 17th, and then it says you'll get it around the 24th, which I presume is the next week. But it's weird that they have no date at all on the M2 MacBook Air, because clearly that's the one that everybody wants.
That's why they don't have a date.
It seems like you would lead with that.
Yeah, it does seem like you'd lead with it. But if you want to sell some M2 MacBook Pros, then you send those out first. I don't know. I mean, everything's all screwed up, right? Nobody has enough chips for anything. The supply chain's completely messed up.
Dude, it is strange days, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. So who knows? Maybe they just literally don't have any of it, the parts to put these things together yet. So,
well, I'll say this: I won't go back in and redo my whole spiel from last week. But on the M2 MacBook Pro, like really, all jokes aside, I wouldn't buy it. Like, I really, when you're comparing the M2 MacBook Pro, the 13-inch, to the new MacBook Air, there's literally no reason to buy the MacBook Pro. The MacBook Air is superior in almost every single way, except it gets like 10% less battery life. So there's no point in getting the 13-inch MacBook Pro. I would just skip it and wait for the MacBook Air.
Just for the MagSafe.
Well, yeah.
If for no other reason.
That is a big reason to want to wait, but also the more slender size, the better display. I could go on and on. I'm not gonna do it, Liz. I feel like you're trying to.
You can't bear it, right? Well, let's talk about the M2, right? So Apple says it's 18% faster CPU, 35% more powerful GPU, 40% faster neural engine than the M1. And this is your first chance to get it. If you just can't wait to get that faster processing power, you're gonna have to go ahead and order this thing. Make some compromises and get the MacBook Pro.
Here's the thing, though. Let's talk about that M2 from a benchmark perspective. So we had some leaks come out this week, and the leaks are better and worse than I was expecting, to be honest. I think the better outweighs the worse, but the single-core performance of the M2 over the M1, at least in the early Geekbench scores that we've seen, is only about 11 or 12% faster in single-core performance. Like that's not great, to be honest. But where you get the most performance increase is in multi-core performance, which is almost 20%, and that is huge. And then with the GPU performance, we're seeing increases, up to 50% over the M1. So you actually are, as a whole, getting massive performance increases. And it was pointed out that the multi-core score on the M2 is faster than the multi-core score on the base Mac Pro, which costs $6,000. So if you bought a Mac Pro, the Mac Pro is going to beat the M2 in probably most regards, I imagine. But the fact that you can get an M2 that beats it in multi-core performance is kind of bonkers if you think about it. And it's the second time I feel like that the Mac Pro has essentially been turned into a $5,000 paperweight. Like this just keeps happening to the Mac Pro. And when they release it, it's the most powerful across the board. But then they'll update their consumer grade computers and they'll chip away at its advantages. And so now for most people, there's absolutely no reason, unless you need like massive heavy lifting, to get a Mac Pro. But this is multi-core performance we're talking about. Like the multi-core performance should be better on the Mac Pro than an M2 MacBook Air. I'm sure the GPU would probably destroy it, but regardless, $6,000, Lewis.
That's the nature of computers.
I know.
They always put them out, and then there always better ones come along. What are you
you'd
gonna do?
think like,
what are you gonna do?
but here's the thing though, like that doesn't work across all products in the technology industry. So with GPUs, like if you get a really super high end NVIDIA GPU, which costs, I don't know, $1,200, $1,300, that card is gonna be a top performer for years, like 2-3 years. Like there's a card out called the 1080 Ti, which was a top GPU card from NVIDIA years ago. It was probably like 4 or 5 years ago. And that card, even today, is still one of the fastest cards available. Now, there are cards that are faster, but that card is still outperforming like mid-tier brand new architecture cards that come out today. So I feel like the Mac Pro has had a short-lived life in the last 5 to 6 years. Like you buy it, and then within a year or two, it seems like it's just woefully outdated. And it's probably because of the Intel architecture would be my guess. Once they switch that thing to Apple Silicon, it's going to be a different story. But there you go.
It's already 3 years old, so
what is
almost.
the Mac Pro?
Mac
is
Pro.
It really? Wow, I can't believe
Almost.
that. But it wasn't long. It wasn't long before that machine felt like it became outdated by the Apple Silicon, right? Like this isn't the first time we've heard that the Mac Pro is getting beat out by consumer grade computers. It happened when the MacBook Pro came out too. I mean, the MacBook Pro essentially, in my opinion, obsoleted the Mac Pro in almost all instances. The Mac Pro or the MacBook Pro is faster. By the way, shout out to our pals over at Max Tech for featuring all of these scores on Twitter and just generally being great guys. Like these guys are following this stuff so closely. They've always got great insights to share on benchmarks and that type of thing. So shout out to Vadim for posting this stuff on Twitter. All right, Lewis, let's move on and talk about iPhone 14. Now, I know this is going to feel like a similar story than what we've talked about before, and I was almost expecting you to complain about it.
I almost complained when we published it.
I was surprised that you didn't. But this is confirmation of what we have discussed before about, I think, what is going to be one of the biggest upgrades on the iPhone 14. So I think it's worth discussing again because we have new confirmation and we have some more details to share. So take it away.
Well, let's see here. Yeah, this is the latest thing from TF International Securities. It's so hard to say. Minchi Kuo.
You
He's saying
enunciated that so well, though.
Yeah, it was great. It was top-notch broadcasting. Anyway, he's saying that Apple is definitely going to upgrade iPhone's 14's front camera to add autofocus support, corroborating previous rumors. That's what our story says.
Yep.
And one of those rumors is from him. So I don't know. Do you corroborate your own rumor?
Sure. Why not?
Interesting choice of word. Doubling down on previous rumors is maybe how we should. Anyway, the current one has a fixed focus camera, right? Focus set to infinity, so everything is in focus as long as it's not too close. Autofocus, like the one found on the iPhone's rear cameras, will help avoid this by automatically focusing on the subject. So yeah, autofocus selfie cam. So what he's said, I guess the stuff that he said this time is like a little bit more detail about what's going to be on it in it, right? Aperture being increased from f2.2 to f1.9. I'm sorry, 1.8.
Yes.
Which means about 33% increase in light gathering capacity. And iPhone hasn't upgraded that front camera.
In a lot.
Front facing, right? I just get confused. Front facing
camera.
Cam. Yeah, it hasn't upgraded that since September 2019 with iPhone 11. And frankly, iPhone is behind some Android phones in this regard.
Oh, yeah, big time. And I know that you like to make fun of people who use the front-facing camera a lot.
Selfie freaks.
You call them, what did you call them? Vain narcissist? What did you call them? Something really rude. I don't remember what it was.
No, did I? Oh, come on. It must have been the height of COVID. I mean, I'm sure my brain must have been. I just fever.
You were in the midst of immediate term COVID. Right. Now you're in midterm COVID, so I know that you're not as hard on the front-facing camera, but I think this will be a massive upgrade. People use the front-facing cameras all the time, and this is going to be quite a large change, I think. If they're going to be changing from a fixed focal length to a autofocus camera, I mean, you'll be able to get better depth of field when you are moving the camera all around, and it will stay focused on your face, which means that you can better blur the background and have like that natural blur effect, which is called bokeh. But actually, people pronounce it different ways. I say bokeh.
Yeah.
Some people say bokeh. Some people say bokeh. There's all sorts of ways to say it. And then the other thing, of course, is the increase in aperture, which is a small change, but they call aperture moves stops. And for every stop you move, you increase the amount of light that is let into the camera. Well, if you make the aperture larger, which is a smaller number, which is confusing. So the smaller the number, the larger the actual opening in the iris. So when you open that iris up more, it lets in more light, which means that you're going to get cleaner photos in dark conditions, so less noise. It also means that you'll get even more of that dreamy, creamy bokeh behind you when you're using the front-facing camera. So it seems like between the rear-facing 48-pixel camera upgrade that we're probably getting this year and then the front-facing camera improvements that we're getting this year, that obviously one of the big focuses is going to be camera improvements, which makes sense because
big focuses.
What's that? What's that?
One of the big focuses.
One of the big focuses is going to be camera because it's the same design for the third year in a row, and they got to do something to pull those people in, especially considering that the other rumors say that unless you get a Pro model, you're not even going to get the newest SoC. So, which is still mind-blowing to me when they come out and they say that the iPhone 14 and the iPhone 13 have the same SoC. I know most people don't care about that, but to me, that is just wild. So, yeah, go ahead, Lewis.
Well, the other thing he said, just to be, fully cover this one, info-packed tweet.
Mm-hmm.
He said they're going to add a VCM.
Yeah.
Do you know what that is?
I have no idea what that is, Lewis. Do you know what that is?
I had to look it up. I believe that is a voice coil motor.
Oh.
It's used for the camera lens focus. It's so it sounds like that's how they all work. So I don't know. Maybe there's no even point in saying that. Maybe that's implied by saying you've got an autofocus. I don't know. But he also says they're going to go to this is another term that was odd to me, a 6P lens as opposed to the existing 5P.
Okay.
These are terms that I'm not used to seeing these terms, but 6P, it just means like a 6-element lens as opposed to 5-element lens. Apparently the
Interesting.
One
That probably is something that has to happen in order to adjust the aperture, would be my guess.
I don't know. I actually wanted to bring those up in case you actually knew what those were. I've been editing text copy for, I don't know, 20, 30 years. I've never seen that term VCM.
I haven't heard the term VCM, but whenever they release a new lens, they always talk about how many glass elements are inside. This is like some, brilliant physicist light bending stuff. You know what I mean? It's like most mere mortals don't know how lenses are made, but when you see the designs that they release and they show you all the internal components, they have
the exploded ones.
Yeah, it's actually really insane how sophisticated the glass is inside of these lenses, right? Because you have to pair all these different glass elements to bend the lights into a way that creates a pleasing image, which is like the art and science behind how you create lenses. And there's different filters that go in there to clean up the light and make the light look a certain way, and then bend it and make it sharp or make it look the way that you want it to look. And then those elements have to work together as you zoom the lens in and out. I mean, it's like insanely complex. Not to mention, beyond that, they have to use optical grade glass, which is, I think, worth more per ounce than gold. It's like,
come on now.
It is ridiculously expensive glass. Like the glass they use, I think it costs like $1,000 a pound or something. I don't remember the exact number, but when I heard how much this glass cost, I just remember being, I was surprised. I was like, wow, I had no idea. Now, lower quality lenses will use lower quality glass and will sometimes even use like plastic elements. But like the Canon L series glass, the Sony G Master glass, the stuff that's like really premium that photographers want to have and like sports photographers want to have, like those lenses use really expensive glass, and and those lenses are also really expensive. So there's your photography lesson for the day.
I'm glad you were able to share that. And I feel sorry for the people who weren't watching the video because the hand motions and
You know what?
the
The hand
visuals were
motions,
very, very impressive.
they were useful, weren't they?
Very informative.
When I was doing this, like, the zoom out. Actually, I don't want to do that again. See that? Never mind. Seeing that on camera, I'm like looking at that again. I'm like, yeah, I actually that's don't gift that. Don't gift that. All right. I will sue you. You'll be hearing from my high-powered legal team. All right, Lewis. We're looking pretty good. Let's see. Where are we at?
We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it.
I think we can go on for like another like 20, 30 minutes before we're cut off here. So before we move on though, I think we should talk about the giveaway because this is a good one, Lewis.
Race through it, right? Yeah, it's the same one as last week, and it's ending soon. Multi-device charger with a built-in MagSafe battery pack. It's called the Mag Easy Slider, and it's from Pitaka. It's a little tiny compact charger. Swivels around so you can get you can put the iPhone in the front, AirPods in the back. You can also add a dongle that does the Apple Watch. Thing spins around, and the really amazing thing is that while your phone's sitting there, it's sitting on this battery pack. So then when you leave, you can take the iPhone with the battery pack.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Naturally, it's a $130 device. We're giving away 3 of them. Go to cultofmac.com, scroll down to the giveaway section, get your entries. And take your shot at winning one.
And what a shot you have. What a shot you have. You
know my heavens.
I'm not saying that you're guaranteed to win it because that's definitely not true. But I will say you got a shot. And it's not a bad shot. So if you want to win one of these, I'll post a link in the chat. And I don't even think I posted a link to the actual giveaway last week, Lewis, because the giveaway wasn't up yet.
Oh, right, yeah. So we got it now, and there's a I always put that in the the sort of show notes post that I put together.
Absolutely. I always put it in too.
Yeah.
All right.
If it exists.
Yeah.
We got it together this week.
Yeah. Last minute you got it together, so good job. Okay. The hardware explosion continues. We have even more to talk about. And this one I think is pretty exciting. You guys know me. I'm a Mac guy, man. I just love talking about Macs. They're definitely one of my favorite things to talk about. And we've got some new Macs that are incoming. And this is coming from Gurman, so this is the good stuff, right? This is the gold standard for rumors. Because Gurman, he's nothing if not conservative with his predictions, right? I don't think he reports stuff unless he's pretty confident that it's going to come to fruition. And so apparently, according to the Gurminator, we've got a 15-inch and a 12-inch. A 12-incher. 12-incher, Lewis.
Back to the good old days.
What was the hold on, let me finish my thought. We have a 15-inch and a 12-inch M2 MacBook on the way. And I think these are going to end up being MacBook Airs, but we're actually not entirely sure yet. When you're saying back to the good old days, Lewis, what was wasn't there a 12-inch? No, there was a 13-inch like PowerBook back in the day. Do you remember that thing? Little
I don't know. I was just thinking of the 12-inch MacBook. That's all. That's as far back as I was going. I don't know.
I think 12 inches is way too small. It's a ridiculous size for a computer. It's like the clown car of computers.
Depends on what you need it for.
I guess if you have like little tiny Alex E. Heath hands, then it might be fine.
Well, if you just need to write, or if you're only using, if you're basically using like an iPad, I mean that's plenty of screen real estate. It's not that much smaller than a 13-inch.
It's definitely better than an iPad, in my opinion. I know people use their iPads, of course. With the new iPad Pro, what is going on here? The Macs are getting smaller and the iPads are getting bigger, right? So what timeline are we on? So it doesn't even matter anymore. Nothing makes sense. It's like, oh, we'll just give them a 12-inch computer and then we'll give them a 14-inch iPad. It's like they just keep going back and forth. This is so ridiculous, this whole thing. So before we talk about the 14-inch iPad Pro, let me finish talking about the 15-inch MacBook Air. Let me see if I can pull up the story here. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Yeah. So 15-inch M2 MacBook Air, 12-inch MacBook Pro. And according to Bloomberg, Apple is developing both. It seems like the 15-inch has more of a chance of being released. Apple is working on a new 15-inch MacBook Air that would come out as soon as spring 2023, according to the Germinator. It will reportedly be a wider version of the 13.6-inch MacBook Air that just rolled out. Apparently they were considering releasing the 15-inch at the same time as the 13.6-inch, but they ended up just sticking with the 13.6-inch. That's the new MacBook Air that I'm talking about. Probably because of supply chain issues would be my guess.
Chips for both.
Yeah, they honestly they may not. So they just decided to get one out the door and then focus on the 15-inch later. But I think for most people, a 15-inch, so the 13.6-inch MacBook Air that just came out, I think is probably one of the most perfect computers Apple has made for most people. It just checks all the boxes. It has beautiful design, really slim, really light, beautiful screen, fantastic battery life, outstanding performance. It has MagSafe. I mean, the only thing it doesn't have, Lewis, is an SD card slot, but you could forgive them that for a, for a MacBook Air, and it doesn't have USB-A either, which is a problem. But you could forgive them that for the form factor and the size. But a 15-inch version, I think for most people, is going to be the perfect computer. I don't know what else you could want. I mean, for the people who just are writing or browsing the internet, or if you're a college kid, I think that's probably going to be the perfect version. Now, we have this new 12-inch design, too. According to Gurman, Apple has also begun working on a new 12-inch laptop and is considering launching at the end of 2023 or early 2024. So this is way out. If Apple moves forward with release, and I emphasize if, it would represent the company's smallest laptop since its discontinued 12-inch MacBook in 2019. And that 12-inch MacBook was produced from 2015 to 2019. A lot of people were saying that they don't think this is going to happen. I think Ming-Chi Kuo said that he didn't think this was going to happen. He hasn't seen anything in the supply chain. I think, what's that guy's name? The guy from
Ross Young.
Ross Young. I kept thinking his last name was Ross, but I knew that wasn't right. Yeah, so another Apple analyst who has a good score, Ross Young, was saying that he doesn't see any evidence that this is going to happen, which to me doesn't really indicate anything because, I mean, Gurman already said Apple has begun to work on it, and if it moves forward with release, so they're not even committed to releasing this thing yet, so they may not have interacted with their supply chain yet in any substantial way to create evidence that this laptop is actually going to be created. So this could be something that, they decide to make at a future date. I'm curious to hear what the chat thinks. 12-inch MacBook Air or a MacBook? What do you guys think about that? I think 12 inches is way too small. But, I like it big. I'm more of a 15-inch guy myself. How about you?
I don't think I've ever had a laptop with a screen that large. Maybe an old Windows one years ago.
With a screen 15 inches?
Yeah.
What computer are you using? Oh, you're using a MacBook Air.
Yeah.
And which one is it?
Yeah, it's the M1.
Okay, so it's the 13.3 inch M1. Yeah, that's pretty small, man.
It's fine for just about everything. I mean, I've got it attached to a giant monitor, right? So yeah. I mean, you take it on the road. I mean, how much screen do you need?
You're such a minimalist. I don't know. 16 inches would be.
I don't know. It's like in the end, it's not that. Even that is not that much, really. I mean, if you need to use like 2 or 3 windows open, it's still like not enough room, right? So
yeah. That's why I really love the 14-inch MacBook Pro, and I love that Apple is increasing the screen size without increasing the size of the computer. That 14-inch MacBook Pro, normally I would say that screen is too small for me, but the screen is large enough now that I think that it would be big enough for my purposes and big enough to take mobile. So that's probably going to be my next Mac. I don't know if I'll get the M1 Max. If I can get a good refurbed M1 Max 14-inch MacBook Pro, then I'll probably go that route because you can get such a great deal on those. But the M2, which we'll talk more about here in a little bit, is going to be such a huge increase in performance that it might actually be worth waiting for the M2 Max or the M2 Pro. We'll see. They always get that carrot dangling.
There's always going to be a faster computer. The next year is you're always going to be disappointed. I mean, I love this MacBook Air, and yet now oh gee, I wish I could get a better one. I mean, but I'm not a serial like upgrader, right? I'm going to use this thing until it doesn't work anymore.
Oh man, I'm the exact opposite from you. You know what? That is one of the things I love about the Mac community is there is a huge community of people who do exactly what you do. This is why Luke Miani, this is why he has an audience. Like his whole premise is I take a really old Mac that no one wants anymore and I make it usable, and his videos get big views because there's a big group of people who are like they get such satisfaction out of getting every ounce of use out of a MacBook, and they'll buy it and they'll keep it for 9 years and they'll use it for 9 years. I am not in that group of people. Like I think it's great that Macs last that long. That's one of the things I love about Apple is they create high quality stuff, but I want the faster stuff, right? Like 2-3 years is my 3 years is like my max. And I'm fortunate and I'm blessed that I can, buy a newer computer because I know a lot of people can't, especially in Europe and Brazil where Apple equipment is insanely expensive. Like it's expensive here in the US, but people overseas have it way worse, especially in Brazil. But 2-3 years is
especially in Brazil. Why Brazil?
I have no idea, but every time I hear from our Brazilian listeners, they always show me how expensive Apple stuff is in Brazil, and it's just out of control. I mean,
tariffs or something?
I don't know. I really don't know. But I've seen prices from Brazil and actually in the UK as well, and the prices are higher, much higher than they are here in the US. So we're kind of fortunate, because Apple stuff is expensive here, but it's at least affordable. Over there, it's like you have to decide between putting a down payment down on a house and buying a new MacBook Pro. I completely lost my place. Oh, right. Story's not done yet here. Okay, so 15-inch MacBook Air, 12-inch MacBook Air probably. They might be regular MacBooks. I think it'd be weird if Apple brought back MacBooks, but we'll find out about that. But now you want to talk about 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pros. Okay, so Gurman goes on to say upgrades for the existing 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pro models with M2 and M2 Max chipsets could come along before the end of 2022. I'm going to go on the record and say I don't think that's happening because I think that my prediction of how the rollouts are going to happen, I think is going to turn out to be right. So I think Apple's on a 2-year cycle, right? They come out with a new architecture. They release the consumer grade architecture the first year, the Mac Minis, the MacBook Airs, the iPads, right? And they all get like the M2. And then the following year, you get the Max and Pro versions of those same chips. And then they roll out to all the professional, quote unquote, computers. And I think that's what's going to happen. And I think he even mentions that. Yeah, he actually mentions that in the report. So continuing on here, the report says the new models probably won't be radically new products. Instead, they will be updated versions of the existing MacBook Pro models with the faster chips. Of course, that's exactly what they're going to be. The M2 Max chip I'm quoting here, the M2 Max chip in the next high-end MacBook Pros will include 12 main processing cores and up to 38 graphics cores, up from a maximum of 10 processing cores and 32 graphics cores in the current models. The report cautioned that while a 2022 release date is possible, the new MacBooks could slip to early 2023, which I think is exactly what's going to happen. Can you imagine if they release new MacBook Pros this year? That is not happening. There's no way that's happening. When would they even do it? They would have to do it when they are releasing their iPhones, before the holiday season. There's no way they're going to do that. They're not going to release their iPhones and then also release their MacBook Pros at the same time. They want all the focus to be on the iPhones when they release those. It's just not happening. I mean, unless they do a soft release of the MacBook Pro with the M2, I don't think that's happening either. So I think it's going to be 2023 before we see new MacBook Pros. What do you think about that, Lewis?
That sounds good. I mean, it seems like they're having problems pulling together even just the MacBook Air, right? So we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I know that we keep talking about this point, but the supply chain issues are not getting better. And it could be a year or more before we start seeing things get back to normal. And I don't even know what the new normal is going to look like. And like the price of like gasoline and diesel and everything is going way up. So that just exacerbates the issues. It's like, it's just a weird time for supply chain. And then you still have like the COVID stuff happening. Like COVID right now, I feel like is, it's way less, it seems like it's way less serious than it was before, which is a good thing, but it's also way more contagious. Like I just keep hearing of people that I know who are getting it. And my family just got it. For those of you that don't know, like we just got it like 2 weeks ago out of the blue. We got it. I don't know how. And then our friends got it. It's just like, it's just going around like crazy. And whenever that, even Fauci got it. even Fauci got it. I mean, if that guy can't avoid getting it, what hope is there for the rest of us, And whenever these COVID strains make their rounds, like these factories in China just keep closing down. And what's interesting, sorry, I know I'm going on a tangent here. What's really interesting about all this is I keep hearing about companies that are moving manufacturing back to the U.S., Lewis. Have you heard these stories? I mean, there's like, there's company after company that I feel like is opening up operations, especially in Arizona. I think Intel is opening a huge plant in Ohio, and they're moving a lot of manufacturing back to the U.S. where they can control, where they have better control over of their supply chain because of all this just destruction happening in the supply chain in China. So it's really interesting that a lot of these companies are now moving back to the U.S.
Yeah, that's great news. Shame it took a global pandemic to make that happen.
Yeah, I think that it's going to drastically reform supply chains so that components are closer to their final destinations. But let's see, is there anything more to this story? No.
I think you've read every single word.
That's it's the Mac, Lewis. I like to talk about
Super
Mac.
Super excited.
Dude, I love the Mac. It's my favorite Apple product, Lewis. And we're not done yet. You guys ready? We got some more to talk about. All right. Let's talk about iPad Pro. You all keep complaining that iPad isn't big enough. It's going Max. It's going iPad Max. They might even call it the iPad Max, to be honest with you.
Oh my gosh.
And I just keep thinking to myself, who is buying these giant iPads? I feel like the 13-inch, the 12.9-inch is too big to hold.
It's already unwieldy.
Yeah, it's unwieldy. That's the perfect word for it. And now they're going to go even bigger, Lewis.
Yeah.
Do you want to take this story? Because I just did that huge stretch. And
sure, give yourself a break there.
I need to take a couple sips of water.
Rehydrate. You get a little.
If only my bottle had LED lights. No. So I don't know if my body needs water. I'm going to just take a few sips and see what happens.
Just chance it.
So go for it.
Yeah, so Apple's working on an iPad Pro with a 14.1-inch mini LED display, ProMotion, and Face ID, sources said today, Thursday. Unfortunately for people who are already salivating about the idea of such a big tablet, probably going to have to wait. It's probably not going to arrive until early 2023. That's not that long.
That's like 6 months away, Lewis.
Yeah. So this is coming from Ross Young, the guy we were talking about earlier, from I can't remember the exact name of his company, Display something DSSC or DSCC, everybody says. Anyway, he has confirmed a tweet by somebody else who's a little less well known, but he confirmed that this 14.1-inch iPad Pro is being developed. He confirmed it with his supply chain sources. We'll have mini LEDs ProMotion. Not sure of timing, but early 2023 may be more likely. That's what he said. That's what I loved repeating myself because I didn't read the notes before the show. That's great.
The audience loves it when you repeat yourself too.
Yeah, repetition is just such a great thing. And I can't find the actual other link that he was replying to. I can't remember. I can't remember the name of the person that he talked to originally, or not that he talked to, but the person who first came forward with this. Here we go. I got it now. I got it. Do I got it? I got it. I got it, but I can't pronounce it.
Just give it your best shot.
Majin Buu?
Yeah.
We have.
He's another leaker, but I don't think that he is one that has
not as well known.
Yeah, he doesn't have the same track record that Ross Young has. But
our story somewhat meanly referred to him as a less reliable Twitter leaker.
Well, maybe that's just the facts.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he's just less reliable.
It, so anyway, that was the person, that was the original source of this. And what he said was, according to my resource, Apple is developing a new 14.1-inch iPad M2 with 512 gigabyte and 16 gigabyte of base memory. It's expected to include the new M2 iPad line is expected to include a new 11-inch model too, with no major changes, and a new 12.9-inch model with reduced. I can never say it. Bezels. Why can I not? What's my block with that word?
I don't know, man. That is really weird. It's bezels.
Bezels.
Are you thinking of like? You know what really bugs me is when people say Jeff Bezos, like they say Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon.
What is it? Bezos?
It's Bezos. Or when the people say Steve Jobs.
Oh no.
That also bugs me.
Jobs.
People call him Jobs. My own brother, in fact, my own dear brother. He calls him Steve.
Plant food spikes.
Steve Jobs. I'm like, I shake my head. I don't even bother correcting him anymore. Continue, please.
Anyway, so that's just it. I want to be sure to give credit to the original source, since Ross Young was just confirming, doubling down on this. So, anyway.
Gotcha. Okay, I didn't realize that was part of the story. Yeah, so 14.1-inch iPad Pro. This thing's gonna cost like, this thing's gonna be outrageous. The iPad Pros, the bigger they make them, the bigger their price becomes, and it's gonna be like $1,700, for like this iPad Pro. And I just think to myself, look, I would love to have one of these, but is it worth it? A $1,700 or $1,600 iPad Pro, like is it worth it? To have
doubles as a coffee table.
I guess that's true. Yeah, you could have it be like one of those arcades, like those pizza, like the pizza place arcades, right? It's like the table with the video games. Yeah. You could literally use
joysticks on either side. Maybe Apple will sell a $14,000 hardwood enclosure
made by Love From.
Yeah, there you go.
The Johnny Ive pizza place arcade stand for your 14.1-inch iPad.
Reclaimed hardwoods,
of course,
beautifully handcrafted to hold your iPad Pro Max.
Don't forget about the
in place.
The bezeled edges, chamfered edges.
I was going to say,
sorry.
Yeah, maybe.
My apologies. So there you go. Look at all this hardware that we have potentially upcoming in the next 6 months, and not to mention iPhone 14 is going to be announced and released in September, most likely. Which how I'm going to celebrate iPhone 14, Lewis?
But buying one?
Well, yes, but also I'm going to Disney World. Which, by the way, Lewis, I'm going to Disney World in September, so we're gonna have to talk about that.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I'm going to
live
Disney World.
Live broadcast from Goofy's Kingdom.
Well, I'll be talking about the iPhone 14, and in the background you'll hear "It's a Small World After All." I'll just be broadcasting from my phone. Actually, that would be really funny if we did that. We could totally pull that off and just do a show broadcast from the phone. But I don't think people want to see that nonsense. So yeah, I've never been to Disney World. And I'm doing a bucket list trip. I'm taking the whole family to Disney World. Packing up the Clark W. Griswold.
I was going to say
wagon.
Griswold style. Excellent.
And I'm heading down to Wally World. It's going to be absolutely insane, man.
This is the one in L.A.?
No, that's
Anaheim. Are you going?
No. I'm not going to Disneyland.
You're going to Disney. You're going to Florida.
I'm going to Florida.
You're
Orlando.
driving to Florida.
No. We're flying.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So actually, we're going to go to Georgia first to visit some family, and then we're going to drive down from Georgia to Florida and hit up Disney World. So if you want me to bring you back like a Goofy pin or like a $70 Disneyland T-shirt, You'll need to Apple Pay cash me the money, but I'll get you something nice.
Okay.
Actually, what I'm really looking forward to is the best corn dog I've ever had in my life was at Disneyland when I was a kid, and I still remember that delicious crunchy corn dog, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Don't get your hopes up. None of the food that you loved as a kid is anywhere near as good now as it was then.
I don't know, man. I'm a pretty big fan of corn dogs.
Yeah, they're
And
delicious, but I just telling you.
here's the thing, though. Here's what makes the Disney corn dog one of the best. And you don't have to get these from Disney. You can get them from like the fair. But the thing is like most places don't make corn dogs this way anymore. And I'm talking about the hand dipped, the batter dipped corn dog. They dip it in batter, right? And then they dip it, then they deep fry it right in front of you, and then you bite into that thing, and it like crunches in your mouth, and then you get that aroma of that sausage in there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm familiar with good corn dogs, but I don't think you have to go to Florida to get one. And I'm just telling you, all the things that I think about when I was a kid, that if I go back and try one, it's like, oh, geez.
Okay, I think you're wrong.
I don't know if it's because your tastes change or because the quality goes to crap.
Well, the quality might be less than it was before. That's a possibility.
That's what if it's the same quality as it was when you were a kid, it's going to cost you like $33.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be probably $14 for a corn dog. I mean, I have no illusions that it's gonna be affordable at Disney World. I mean, especially right now, the prices of everything are way higher. And I was just thinking to myself, this is just my luck. Like I go down there, and inflation's gonna be absolutely through the roof. Everything's gonna be expensive. But the thing is, like we bought our Disney passes, we bought our plane tickets, we bought everything like 6-7 months ago before the prices really went wild. So most of the trip is paid for. Like we just have to go and pay for food
and fun.
Yeah, and have fun. All right, let's see here. Before we move on, let's do a couple of super chats here. I can't believe that you guys are paying us to talk about stuff on the show, but if you wanna toss some super chats our way, I'll literally read whatever is here. I'm like Ron Burgundy. And by the way, if you haven't yet, please hit the like button. It broadcasts our show to all the people in talk show purgatory, and they might see there's another option for them, or even worse, they might be watching the Vergecast and they're like, oh my goodness, this show, it's like, what was Steve Jobs' example? It's a glass of ice water in hell, right?
People in hell. Yeah. How much time do we have left?
Oh, you're right, dude. We got like 20 minutes left. We're actually looking pretty good. All right, shout out to BD Gaines. Thank you for the super chat here. He says, hey, Airfun, dude, I live in Simi Valley. Where in Ventura County did you grow up? Day one fan, bro. Oh, we got a day one Gov Club here.
Whoa.
Thank you for listening since day one. I think we've been doing this for 10 years, Lewis. I think it's been 10 years. And I've only missed one episode in 10 years.
That is quite a record.
You know what, man? I am actually quite proud of that. Like, the one thing I was like, we can't promise the show's going to be good. We can't promise we're going to be accurate, but I know two things. We can have fun and we can show up, and we've definitely done those two things. We've done those two things for 10 years straight. So
that's a long time.
I'll keep it short. So for people that don't really care about this information, I actually was born in Hollywood, California, baby. And I lived there until I was probably like 9 or 10. And I grew up in we lived in La Puente, and then we lived in Camarillo, which Camarillo is like some huge city now. When I lived there, there wasn't really much there, and now it's like this big sprawling metropolis. Not really, but it's huge. So we used to go to the beach down near Camarillo, and I believe Camarillo is in Ventura County, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is. And we got another one from Abizar Raha. Oh, I like saying that. Abizar Raha. He says, hello, Governor. When's the next time Buster and Alex, Tiny Hands Heath, will be back on the show? Oh, man, we should do a reunion. That really would be a lot of fun. We could probably whip something up for you. I'm sure they would both be up for it, Yeah.
We'd have to get Alex to wear one of those VR headsets, though.
He's probably just always wearing that headset now. He's such an advanced guy. Now he works for The Verge, so he's got access to all the latest technology, so he probably just lives in those. So there you go. Thank you for the super chats, everyone. Let's see here. Any other questions? Oh, okay. We have to address this because I know that people don't necessarily know why Leander's not here, and they don't listen every single week, so you may have missed this explanation. So Leander, I don't know 4 weeks ago, said that he wanted to take a extended break from the show. Will he come back? I don't know. He says he's coming back, but I honestly don't know if he's coming back. Like he's just having such a great time, and
Eventually that bag is going to run out.
yeah. And the other thing is, I wish I had the pictures here. He says this happened after he decided to take a break from the show. I'm not sure I buy that, but there is this dumpster outside of Cult of Mac World headquarters that Leander will often, go and sort through. And this is a true story. He goes and he dumpster dives. And he finds all sorts of great stuff because people in San Francisco are throwing away all sorts of expensive stuff that they don't know how to fix. Like he found like a really expensive chair. It was a steel case leap chair that cost like $800. He just found one in the trash. It still worked. And then he found those paper bags they give to you at the grocery store. He found one of those absolutely full of cannabis products. I mean, like pounds and pounds and pounds of keef and all sorts of smokables and oils and all sorts of other stuff. And no joke, that was the last time I heard from him. He got really excited. He posted a bunch of pictures in our Slack channel, and then he literally disappeared. I have not heard a peep from him since. I reached out to him on Slack, and I'm like, dude, how's it going with that big old bag? Just kind of joking around. Didn't even hear back.
Crickets.
Crickets.
I just figured it out, man. So it didn't occur to me before, like people oftentimes, they don't just put stuff in the dumpster. They put stuff beside the dumpster. So what happened is this person, this cannabis entrepreneur, had to be working, at the end of the day, and they're taking home some stuff to their warehouse, and they're dropping off like a big cardboard box. So they go down there, they set down their stuff, they take the big cardboard box and they cut it up and they put it into the thing, and then they walk off, leaving it right beside there. I don't know if you know this, but sometimes it does make people a little bit absent-minded. So that's what happened. It wasn't. Nobody threw that away.
Oh, so you think that they
just, oh, dude, I forgot it. Where did I leave my bag? That's what happened. I hope that's not why we haven't heard from him. I hope they didn't come knocking on his door after they heard the CultCast.
I heard you got some of my product in your house, friend.
All I got is this little empty bag.
I came here to get my product back. The smoke's like pouring out the door. The entire Caney family.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh man, yeah. Now he's on the run with his family.
Oh my god.
The whole Caney
Witness
clan.
relocation program.
I mean, seriously, dude. Who leaves a entire grocery bag full of high-end cannabis products in a dumpster? That is totally bizarre.
Yeah, I just put it together. I couldn't figure it out, but that has to be it. Somebody just absentmindedly forgot it beside the dumpster.
It's full on Hunter Biden laptop moment right there. Man, was Hunter Biden in the area at that time?
Who knows?
We should do some Googling. Oh man, so that's where El Caney is. And I joke, I think he's coming back. When is he coming back? I honestly don't know. So we'll find out. But in the meantime, I told Lewis, I'm like, let's just keep on keeping on and keep the show rolling. And eventually El Caney will finish that big old bag. And once he's done with detox, I'm sure he'll be back. Okay, Lewis, let's wrap up with this story, because I think that this story kind of ties into a larger story with Apple TV, and that is it's becoming clear that they are pushing Apple TV Plus to be the place to watch sports. Have you noticed this?
Well, they have a person in charge of sports partnerships. They got to do something.
Oh, they do. I actually didn't realize that.
Oh yeah, they hired some bigwig. I can't remember where he's from, but and I said he. Now I can't even remember if it's a man or a woman. But anyway, I know for sure that they hired somebody to line up these kinds of deals. And they've got the Major League Baseball. Now they just did the Major League Soccer, which you're about to talk about. Yeah, expect more and more of this kind of stuff. And if they do, I believe what they're doing with this is, well, you should do the main.
Okay, let me do the story first. You're getting
about jumped
God,
the
gun.
just
like usual. You do all the talking, and I can barely get a word in.
Yeah, that's what people complain about.
God, if only I could get a word in. Sometimes, Liz, do you mind? So, Cupertino unveiled a major new sports deal Tuesday, saying Apple TV will be the exclusive streaming destination for all Major League Soccer games for 10 years. 10 years!
I know, that number, that gave me pause.
they must have paid them a friggin' fortune for this. So starting in 2023, the 2023 season, unlike Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus, watching many soccer games will require a separate subscription to an MLS streaming service available exclusively through the Apple TV app. But some of the biggest matches will air on Apple TV Plus as well. One of the most significant factors in the streaming service will let me read that sentence again. One of the most significant factors here is that the streaming service will set no local blackout restrictions. All games broadcast on TV will stream on Apple's MLS subscription service. Apple secured the rights for 10 years, lasting until 2032. Wouldn't it be 2033? I don't know. I'm not going to try and do math on the fly here. Are you a soccer guy, Lewis? You don't strike me as a soccer fan.
I mean, I don't watch soccer. I played soccer when I was a kid. I think it's a fine sport. I wish I was, hardy enough to do it now. But I don't know. I don't actually have any idea how popular American soccer is. I know that the European stuff is bonkers.
Yeah.
So I don't. There's not that level of fandom over here, right? But I mean,
I don't think so.
So,
but it is popular in some places like Seattle. People in Seattle, they love sports that are not. I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but they love sports that are not mainstream, like soccer. Like they love soccer over here, and we have this new hockey team, the Seattle Kraken, and I saw people wearing the Seattle Kraken gear like months and months and months before the team had ever even arrived or played a single game. So it's almost like a point of pride for people in Seattle. Like they are really into. I hate to use this word, but it's in the context of America, obscure sports, right? It's like hockey's kind of an obscure sport. I would even argue soccer is somewhat obscure. It's like Americans really love basketball, they love baseball, and they love football. And like soccer, it's a popular sport, I know, worldwide, but in the U.S., would you consider it to be like at the same level as football and basketball? I don't think so.
No,
it's not. It's definitely not. Even though in some places it is really popular. So I wonder if Apple is working on football next, because that's going to be the big one, right? Like
there's been rumors about that too.
There have?
Yeah.
Do you remember what they said?
Geez, see. Let's see. I can't remember. I don't remember that anything has been like for sure. It's still the rumor stage, right?
Yeah.
But let's see. Apple TV Plus could get new NFL Plus streaming alongside Sunday Ticket. That's the latest story we have about it. That's from May. So and this wasn't that long ago.
Well, the thing is
I mean, that's the thing. I might as well just go ahead and find the name of this executive who's working on this, right? I mean,
while you're doing that, I'll vamp a little bit. Because cable TV is dying. People are canceling cable TV left and right. People just
can't wait to.
Yeah, you should, man. It's ridiculously overpriced, and you can get like all the same channels on Sling, on YouTube, and it's like a fraction of the price. But Apple's positioning themselves to pick up the slack, right? Because if you're not going to watch it on TV, if you're not going to pay Comcast for it, then you can just pay Apple, and Apple will be the place that everyone can go and watch sports. That would be a massive get, to be like the sports location. And they've already got baseball. Now they have soccer. All they need is NBA and football, and that will be absolutely massive for them to be able to watch those shows live. Did you find it, Lewis?
Yeah. So his name is James Delorenzo.
Okay.
And he came to Apple in 2022. Or I'm sorry, 2020. So he's been doing this for 2 years, right? He's a former Amazon video executive, and he's the head of sports, video business at Apple. He's making these deals. He's working on it.
He's making these deals. Oh, I found a story. It's on 9 to 5 Mac. Forgive me, Lewis.
What's that?
Apple hires Amazon video executive James Delorenzo to lead sports division on Apple TV.
I can't believe you looked at it on.
I just Googled it, and that was just the first thing that came up, and I'm like, look, we got like 5 minutes left before we have to wrap it up here. So I'm like, I'm clicking it.
It's a shame. Here's the same story on Cult of Mac. I'm sure ours is better.
That goes without saying. That goes without saying. All right, well, there you go. So Apple has hired a guy to head up their sports division. You guys know I'm a huge sports guy, so I love talking about sports, Lewis. Love talking about sports.
Are you excited about this Major League Soccer thing?
No, not at all.
Have you ever once watched the Friday Night Live baseball thing?
No. I was that was sarcasm, Lewis.
No sports at all, huh?
I've never really been a big sports guy.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not self-righteous about that at all. I think sports are really fun to watch live, but watching them on TV never really been my thing. I've always been more of a music person. That was always a thing that I was super into. You know, like I love performance, and I love watching like music documentaries. Oh man, love those. Love those.
Yeah,
and I enjoy sports. Like I like playing sports, but I just never really liked watching it. Like people watch golf. Watching golf.
Right.
I mean,
darts though. You can imagine how much fun that is.
You know what? I used to give you a lot of crap about that, and I know sometimes I still do, but they really dressed it up, man. They put some lipstick on that pig, because every darts tournament that you've showed me, I mean, it gets buck wild in there. People with all sorts of crazy outfits. And of course, you got to go full Elton John when you're playing darts, because it's like golf, man. It's so boring that it's the accoutrement that makes that interesting, right? Like you have to have a culture to make it interesting, because no one wants to see some dude dryly throw darts at a board that's 30 feet away. That sounds really boring.
Yeah. Well, you know. We'll see. Maybe Apple TV Plus needs to get some darts. That would be awesome.
Worldwide darts, Apple TV Plus. Now that would have some real panache. Unlike watching soccer, where you might get one goal in 90 minutes, darts is just constant action. It's just one dart after another. You know, fast-paced. People getting buck wild in there, Lewis. They're crazy hairdos. They're faux hawks. People dumping drinks on each other. Breasts being signed.
Whoa.
And that was just yours. That was just the story you told me about yours. All right, let's go ahead. This is terrible.
Are we out of time? Thank God.
I'm calling it there, Lewis. I think we're almost literally out of time. We got to stop now. So let's go ahead and wrap it up there. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. But we appreciate you all joining us here live and hanging out with us. If you want the party to continue, the party's always going.
And who doesn't?
Who doesn't want the party to continue? It's like a darts game live on Twitter with me and Lewis. I'm at Erafon at ERFN. Lewis is at Lewis Walsh. This has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday. I want to thank everyone for listening live and for all your support and for helping with Cult Cloth and stuff. I really appreciate you all. We are going to wrap it up there. We'll see you guys next time. I'd get behind some darts games, Lewis. I'd have to cut my hair, though. I'd have to get like a frohawk. A frohawk? I'd go straight to the top with that. I'd be one of those real brash, arrogant darts players. Like, I'd be like tossing them over my shoulder backwards, you know?
Oh, yeah?
And every time I hit the bullseye, I'd go, boom! And then point.
They don't allow you to drink and smoke anymore while you're playing, so that's...
Have you ever seen Kingpin, Lewis?
A long
Bill
time
Murray?
ago, yeah.
Big Earn. That'd be me. That'd be my name, Big Earn.
Oh, okay.
I'd be the most outrageous player out there, you know? Just full Elton John attire. Now you're making me want to play darts.
Very low bar to entry. Just go to a bar.
Not exactly requiring top-tier athletes. All right, all. We've vamped long enough. Bye.